Hey everyone, I hope you are doing well. I'm jumping on here to give you my latest update. I was holding off on this because I didn't want to be speaking too soon. I wanted to really go internal and see if I'm like feeling, these things are real that I'm feeling, the changes that have happened with me. So I'm just gonna jump right in here. My name is Sarita, and I created this YouTube channel to sort of inspire people to get going on their own healing journey and their own healing path. And this channel is mostly geared towards people who are healing trauma or dealing with trauma and, are dealing with things like CPTSD. If you realize you were narcissistically abused and now you're trying to figure out how to heal from it, all of these kinds of things. But it's really for those people that have quite a bit of trauma to process and heal through. So basically, I had continued on with my therapy. It took some twists and turns, like you see in my previous updates. We went from EMDR, I did lens neurofeedback on and off. I also started to do IFS therapy, which is internal family systems, also known as parts therapy. And so it'd been very bumpy, the process. Of course, this is healing and you're really going into the depths of it. I found an amazing trauma therapist who is very educated and experienced in more modern techniques for healing trauma specifically. And I focused a lot on somatic healing, and so that's like trauma stuck in my body, releasing it, releasing all the stuck energy, emotions, unprocessed or unfinished trauma cycles in my body as well. And I focused a lot on improving my brain health, because after I did my initial direct neurofeedback, which is called lens, the specific type of neurofeedback I was doing was lens neurofeedback. So remember, this is different from neurofeedback. People will message me and tell me they did a 45-minute session where they're watching a screen and whatever. That's not the type of neurofeedback I'm talking about. I'm talking about a very quick appointment where there's sensors attached to they put sensors on your head, they deliver a treatment, takes about 10 minutes and you're done. And you don't do anything, you don't look at anything, you don't watch anything, you don't listen to anything. It's just the treatment is delivered to you. I just want to get that out of the way before I get questions about the other style of neurofeedback. So I'm really excited to give you guys this update because, like, in the last 2 months, I have become so incredibly emotionally regulated. I have no anxiety and that lingering depression from everything that happened to me in late 2018 into early 2019 that caused me to have a bad episode of going into depression. And I was really struggling even through therapy to get out of the depression once I got the handle on my anxiety. But in the last couple of months, I can tell you, especially in the last month, like something has switched. It's like all of this therapy that I have done has been like, I don't know, it's like my brain and my body has been integrating it, and it's like, wow, I feel like what I consider myself, and I have not felt this good in years. This might be the best I have ever felt because it's probably the most emotionally regulated I've also felt. Like, I have no anxiety. I have anxiety around things that you would normally have anxiety, like you have a work deadline or you have a meeting you need to be prepared for and you're going to give a presentation, and so you have some like nervousness, like things that you would normally get anxiety about. But other than that, I have not been experiencing anxiety. I have been super calm. So the changes I've been experiencing is I'm so much more focused. I am back on diving back into goals. My own personal goals I have for myself. And it's like, I don't struggle with it so much anymore. I'm just like, I decide I want to do something, and I start taking my small steps towards whatever it is that I want to do. So that has been amazing for me. I have started some new certification programs that I'm really excited about doing and diving into. I'm getting back into my fitness goals. So that's been amazing for me. And just in general, I'm on top of things. I'm on top of things at home. I'm getting more on top of things with my career. And I'm starting to look at my goals again. What do I want to do next? And I'm just really in a good place. And why I was really excited to come on here and tell you about this is because, you know, sometimes you get into a space and you don't think you're ever going to get better, or you'll never overcome something. And this has not been an overnight process for me. And a lot of you message me about specifically just the lens neurofeedback. And I can tell you, just the lens neurofeedback isn't going to get you there. You have to take actions towards your healing. You have to do whatever it takes that's going to get you to a better place, that's going to help you heal. And so it has been like, my YouTube videos don't go as far as back as when I first started on my healing journey, but basically I was consistently in therapy for almost a year and a half. I'm talking about showing up almost every single week. And the only times I wouldn't show up is when my therapist had to take time off for teaching, or just time off for herself for vacation. And also when I took time off to go away or take days off from work or whatever. That was basically the only time I didn't go to sessions. I didn't see my therapist. And there were sticky parts of my therapy where I was thinking, like, maybe this isn't working anymore, because sometimes I show up and I feel worse. But that was my brain and my body working things out, releasing things, integrating things, and trying to sort of find a new way to regulate itself, like healthy way, because my brain and body never knew what that was like. And so what I'm telling you is, this is not an overnight process, but you have to be very disciplined with yourself, like as in, you have to get into therapy. There is no replacement for trauma therapy. Like, if you are traumatized and you are dealing with trauma, there is no getting around working with somebody who can help you. And no amount of spiritual development, no amount of personal development is going to help you. You need to clear all of that trauma. Like, not all of it, but like a lot of it, so that when you go to do your personal development work, when you go to set other goals for yourself, you actually stick with them and you're not constantly triggered and in these trauma responses, like anxiety, like depression. And, you know, this has been a long process for me. This is the longest stretch I ever did any kind of therapy. So like a solid year and almost a year and a half. And I'm now complete with therapy. I had a discussion with my therapist and she's like, you know, you have processed through a lot. You've gotten, you've like, so much change has happened for you. You've integrated a lot. Like, now it's time to get out there and do other things that you want to do. And I agreed with her. And so I'm not in therapy anymore. But what I wanted to share with you is something very interesting. And it is, we started to use the lens neurofeedback. So I've only had like two sessions, I think, or three. This may have been my third session. We started to use the lens neurofeedback on my body. So we started to do body lens. And I feel like the body lens really helped with this whole integration process and letting things, these cycles of trauma complete in my body and finish. So basically, we'd been doing lens neurofeedback, which we eventually stopped doing, which was the sensors on my head. And then you see the brain map on the screen, and they deliver a treatment, and then your brain starts to recognize its own maladaptive patterns, and it starts to create the healthy patterns. Like, it starts to optimize itself, because your brain always wants to be fully optimized. It wants to operate at its best level. So once it notices it's not, it recognizes it, it will create new pathways, more efficient pathways, and start to correct itself. And so improving my brain health along with therapy was very key, because I clearly had a lot of unprocessed trauma, and I had a significant trauma history to work through, more than I realized before I started therapy. And so we've been using the body lens, and we have been delivering treatments to my gut area. And why that makes so much sense is because of the gut-brain axis. So, right, a lot of your neurotransmitters are produced in your gut. So if you have an unhealthy gut, or, you know, you have digestion issues, that means your brain health isn't going to be as good. And so we started to, you know, we've had 3 sessions. We delivered the lens. So she put sensors like on my gut area and then 2 on my lower back, and delivered like a longer treatment. And there was something like so comforting and so soothing about it. And my stomach stopped feeling like nervous and like tight. And I had this moment at home where I went to bed, and I felt this like overwhelming sense of safety that I had never felt. Like, I think I maybe never ever felt safe in my body. And so this was really my first experience of feeling very safe in my body. So I am going to continue to do some body lens treatments to see how that affects other things like my hormones. I did notice, for the ladies that are watching this, those neurofeedback treatments on my gut, because they were kind of low, when I had my next cycles, they were much more balanced. Like, I didn't get any cramping. My emotional self was more regulated. Like, I wasn't getting that anxiety and, you know, those kind of emotional mood swings you can get around that time. I didn't get those. And so something is really happening with that body lens treatment. So for the next treatment, we're going to try, because I know through the EMDR therapy that I was doing, that I was holding tons and tons of anxiety, and I felt so many sensations like in my chest. And so now that my stomach has calmed down and is way more relaxed, I notice that when I do feel anxiety, it kind of stays stuck here and swirls around here. And so we're going to move the sensors up to my chest area, and she's going to deliver the treatment there to see what kind of result that produces. And so I will report back when I have those treatments. My therapist, she took a trip to Costa Rica, much deserved trip, and she's back now, so we're going to do that. But as for therapy, I'm kind of done now, and I'm in a much better place in my life. I feel much more balanced and regulated. I've noticed the changes. Like, I am connecting a lot more with my friends. I've been making a lot of new friends even during the pandemic. I'm meeting new people, and like, maybe my energy is different, but people are wanting to be around me a lot more as well. Not that people didn't want to be around me before. People usually do, because they like to tell me their life story and what's going on with them. But it's more like I've been getting a lot more social invitations and people wanting to get to know me more. And I think also I don't feel like I need to protect myself as much. Like, I feel safer connecting with people in general. So I'm also more open now to connecting with people. And I wanted to share all of this with you because I think it's important to know that a regular person like me, who has a significant trauma history, if you just stick to things, if you just stick to therapy, once you find which healing modalities work the best for you in the therapeutic space, that you can get better. You can definitely get better. Like, if I could get better, trust me, along this 1.5 year journey, there were lots of times where I'm like, I'm just never gonna get better. I am always gonna feel depressed. Like, this is just me now. And I had really accepted that I was just gonna be able to manage depression or manage anxiety, but it is literally like gone. And I know this through my own actions. That's when you know that things are really working, is when you start to make different decisions, when you start to think in different ways, when you start to choose different people to come into your life, when you start to pay more attention and trust your gut feelings, when you can just trust yourself, be like, you know what, this doesn't feel right, so I'm gonna walk away from this. And I think that is very important, to learn how to trust yourself. Like, you just have all this self-doubt, but your gut will always know. And this has been a big part of the healing process for me, is trusting myself again. And now I am trusting myself again. You know, I still have work to do. I'm still probably going to have things that come up that I'm going to have to deal with, but now I'm much more emotionally regulated and in a calmer space to really deal with things and to really work through things. And I trust myself now. When I decide I don't want this person around, I don't feel this like regret or no, maybe I shouldn't or whatever. It's just a solid no. So yeah, this is the update I wanted to give you. I will be coming on more often now that I'm not like up and down in the process of therapy and in and out of low moods and then high moods or whatever. I'll be coming on a lot more to share more about some of these things I've talked about in here, but I just wanted to pop on here because I think it's really important that people come online and share more about their experiences, especially when they're sort of come through the other side of something, to help inspire other people that are going through that journey of healing trauma. So if you have any questions at all, you can pop them into the comments. You can follow me on Instagram if you want to connect, where I'm a little bit more regular with posting, but I don't really post things related to trauma healing on my Instagram page. It's just more if you want to stay connected on there, or you want to share about your own process you've been going through. And yeah, so that's what I wanted to share, and I will be back soon to share another video, and I will talk to you later.